Sonichu time, yet again. The last issues introduced Chris becoming the new main character, which, while not prominent as issue 5, is still very much in this issue. But this is going to be a long one, so grab some snacks, grab some drinks, and get ready to laugh, because this is Sonichu, issue 6. The cover shows Sonichu fighting a 50-foot Lee Walsh as Chris is trapped in a picture frame with Mickey Mouse ears. Wait, did D-Sex Encrypted Gaming already do that joke? Anyway, we see a wedding where Sarah, yeah, remember her, is getting married to some guy named Jack. And at the wedding, Chris is invisible, and going off of the next page, the rest of the crowd are Oompa Loompas dressed as bedsheet ghosts. Wes Lee is looking in on the church as he says, "If I can't have her, I'll play magic." On the next page, Chris says, "It's too bad that I can't stay to catch the bouquet." Traditionally, it's the brides that catch the bouquet. Chris goes on about how he found a new girlfriend who is a, quote, sailor soldier, which technically he means sailor scout, but whatever. Then Chris has a hallucination of Jack being assassinated and Sarah getting kidnapped by Wes, and Chris pulls out his Yu-Gi-Oh card deck. But Wes intervenes the wedding and kidnaps Sarah. "Da dame comes with me," says Wes as he looks like he's growing bigger, and Chris says, "Okay, who played the Megamorph?" Wait, there actually is an explanation for that? Okay, whatever. Anyway, they engage in a chase scene with confusing as hell dialogue. "Hey Wes, Apple Core, Baltimore, who's your friend?" "Me." But the fight is broken up by new characters, Meg-Chan and... I'm just gonna call her not Fifi LaFume, okay? So Meg-Chan fights Wes with some kind of guitar attack. Okay, seriously, the only way that she would win that is if she had the pick of Destiny. And Chris stops him with some Yu-Gi-Oh crap or whatever, and Chris and Sarah head back to the chapel, and in this monologue, Chris catches the bouquet. That's for the brides, whatever, I don't care. So with all that crap out of the way, we can begin the story proper. The story begins with lovers being bothered by jerk-ops, and where are Chris and Sonichu? The mall. Wow, this is the laziest mayor ever. All he does is just hang out at the mall. Well, Sonichu, I've been feeling a lot better since I first met Megan. She's the sweetest, and she has the right spunk amount among all ladies.
Sexual innuendo.
Alright, we rockin' in with the best of light rock and anime hits here at Station K Quick, Quickville's #1 radio station. You're keeping it real with Jams to Sonichu. Yowza! I've just been handed an urgent bulletin. Apparently a jerk-off squad has been harassing loving couples around the city. The true men and women of blue and black can't keep up with these minions of the dirtiest witch of PVC citizens, Lee Walsh. We could really use the help from my main dudes Christian Chandler and Sonichu about now. More news after this groove track from Monica Real. So Chris learns about the city being attacked by some force, and of course, it's Lee Walsh. And Chris pulls out a Nintendo DS, which apparently has not only online connection, but can track villains. Wait, why was it that the radio had to inform them and not the Nintendo DS? Meanwhile, Lee Walsh has her plan all laid out. Chris steps onto a rectangle, and he will fall into a trap. This plan is so stupid, and considering how dumb Chris is, you know it's actually going to work. So Chris summons everybody and wastes a good 5 pages to get the team assembled. So they're attacked by a rip-off chef from South Park, who's apparently a robot because he can just unscrew his head and he's down like that. Huh. Well, that was a weak obstacle. Seriously, that went down so easily. But Meg-Chan comes back, they reuse the introduction page from the first part of the comic, and Chris is about to take out Walsh as he steps into the trap. Called it. Meanwhile, we cut back to Naitsirhc, yeah, again, remember him, as he apparently is getting taken over by some kind of black shoe medallion. Don't worry, that's gonna get explained soon. But Crystal gets sucked into the trap, saving Chris, but trapping herself inside the mirror thing on the cover. With that, Meg-Chan cries to Chris. "Christian, oh, I thought I was gonna lose you. I'd feel terrible if I lost my friend who I really like. I'm also sad that your sister fell in and I couldn't save her." Sob. It's not your fault. You don't have to fret. We'll get Crystal back. I'm just glad that you're safe. You are the sweetest girl I know. I'd hate to lose you too. Dude, I think your sister's life comes before your love life, okay? You may have taken down my squadron, but I have your sister, mister. Ha ha ha!
To be continued. Right now!
And we're now at the official halfway mark of the comic. Now to explain a little bit of something. This review is actually going to cover what is technically the next issue of Sonichu, but seeing how it's a direct follow-up of what just happened in this issue, I'd actually like to count this as part of issue 6 and count it as one big comic, because issue 7 focuses on a completely different story entirely. So, you got that? Good. Let's continue. So we get another cover page, this time showing the new character, Patty the dog. Patty is introduced in a sub-episode of this issue, showing Chris's dog, Patty, turned into a cartoon. So this comic now operates on Cool World logic? Because if you've seen Cool World, that's not a good thing. And now Chris teleports her to Quickville. So Quickville is actually an alternate dimension. Oh my god, this is Cool World logic. And Patty becomes an official member of the main cast. So back in the actual story, Lee Walsh says this. Chris-chan, if you ever want your sister back, you and your crew will bow down to me and surrender your hearts and souls upon my clutches. Ha ha ha. And she's quickly taken out by Patty, Darkbind, and Meg-Chan. Anyway, the gang heads back to HQ, which they just sort of have now. Seriously, where'd that even come from? And they talk about useless crap that we don't care about, like Wild Gang kicked off a basketball team, Punchy wanting a girlfriend, and Patty talking about how great of a guy Chris is. Once again, Chris wrote this. Not like you can't tell or anything, I just thought I'd point it out. So Meg-Chan comes in, and they come to the conclusion that they need all the Sonichu Pokeballs to get Crystal out of the mirror thingy. And we get possibly the greatest line in Sonichu. Darkbind says, "My 2 balls!" Anyway, in the mall, this guy is stealing a Sonichu Pokeball, and Blackchu is there too. Sonichu, Meg-Chan, and Chris go to confront this guy, but the new Sonichu entraps Chris in the purple void of space and time or some crap. If you recall, the ancient prophecy from where you got your powers, if the metal was plunged into darkness, even just for a few minutes, upon one who looked very similar to you and has your first name spelled in reverse, the Dark Sonichu Medallion would be created. The victim would have the sleeping evil within awakened and emerge. Okay, first of all, this was not brought up in the ancient prophecy whatsoever. Secondly, person's name spelled backwards, well, obviously it's gotta be Naitsirhc because, obviously, Naitsirhc isn't a real name. Anyway, outside the void, Sonichu, Meg-Chan, and Blackchu come to a truce. Oh, and Blackchu officially renames himself Blake. And he has a crush on Bubbles. That's sadly going to be brought up in a later issue. Anyway, Chris and Naitsirhc turn into their Sonichu forms, and oh my god, that is the ugliest page I've ever seen. I can't even look at this. Oh my god, move on, next page. Anyway, they end up at a basketball court, and Naitsirhc is about to finish Chris off, and then he gets hit in the head with a basketball. He has shape-shifting powers and super speed, and a basketball to the head is what stops him.
Lame!
And as Megan comes to Chris's aid, who threw the basketball, you ask? Bionic, Chris's first official Sonic recolor, even before Sonichu. I know what you're thinking. How does Bionic have any connection to the Sonichu Rainbow Chaotic Combo thingy? Well, the answer is that he doesn't, and he's just there. Yeah, use the clip from the Rainbow Rocks review again. That's friggin' lazy. So that was Sonichu issue 6. Now, I will give it this, that's slightly better than the other issues, but it's still Sonichu, so I still gotta say it sucks. The artwork in this one is mediocre at best. The story is just a complete incoherent mess, despite the fact this one actually has a continuing story, which I'll give it some props on, I guess. And overall, the overall story is just confusing. I mean, we jumped from Lee Walsh taking over everything, to all of a sudden the new main antagonist goes back to being Naitsirhc. Who is the main villain of this series anyway? There's too many characters to even keep up with. But keep in mind, just like issue 5, this is just the beginning of the end. We are not even at rock bottom yet of this comic. Well, until then, I'm the Media Whiz, because Warrant Form wasn't enough.
That's great, it starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes, an airplane. Lenny Bruce is not afraid. Eye of a hurricane, listen to yourself, turn world, switch its own needs, dummy, serve your own needs, feed it off an ox, speed, grunt, no strength, the ladder starts to clatter with the fear, fight down, high flyer, in a fire, every city, 7 games, and a government for hire, and a combat site. Let the listen coming in a hurry with the furies raining down your neck.
Where the hell am I? You are in a subconscious limbo. It's not heaven nor is it hell, but it's a dimension filled with nothing but vacant emptiness, and it's where most failed beings tend to go. Who the hell are you? Who am I? Who am I? I am the Media Wiz's inner Chris-chan.